Hi, okay, so today I'm going to show you how to do a basic cast on. This is a great cast on if you don't need a particularly springy cast on, and it is really useful if you're doing things like blankets and scarves and so on. It's also known as knitting on, and it gives you quite a nice neat edge as well, which is why I like it. So I have got a super bulky yarn just so that I can show you quite clearly how it works, and I have size 9mm circular needles here, but don't worry about the fact that they're circular. If you haven't yet used circular needles, that's fine. This is just, I'll be using them in the same way as though they were straight needles. It's a little bit easier to show you with these and fit it all in the camera. So okay, so this is the tail end of the yarn, and this is the working end of the yarn that's attached to the ball here. And we start off with a slip knot. I don't have any exciting ways to do slip knots, so I just get the tail end of the yarn, lay it over my hand like this, and then over the first two fingers here. So you can see that there, it's just over the first two fingers. Then with this hand, I bring the yarn round the back of those two fingers, and I make a little cross on the front here, and then I bring it straight down the back of the fingers. So if you have a look there, you can just see I've got that like that. Okay, so it's just straight down through the back. Of course, if you know other ways to do slip knots, feel free to go ahead and do them your way, if you find that easier. So I just get the needle and I put it through here, through this front loop, and then I just catch the back loop with it like so, and I bring that back loop through, still holding on to these two pieces with my left hand. So I'm holding on to the tail end and the working end here. And then I just pull on the right needle, and there's my slip knot, like that. Okay, so you can just see there's my slip knot. Okay, and then you can take this off of the needle, and what you've got is you can hold on to the knot gently, and you can pull on the working end and it makes it smaller. If you pull on the tail end as well, you can adjust it here. Okay, so what we do with our slip knot is we place it on the needle. Now we always have, when we're casting on, we're casting our stitches onto our left hand needle here. So we place the knot on our left hand needle and then just pull it a little bit tighter, not too tight. The thing that people do when they're first knitting with casting on is they make it very tight, which is completely understandable because I think you're very tense, so you're sort of really concentrating. A lot of effort goes into casting on. The only problem with a tight cast on is that it does pull a little bit, so when you compare it to the rest of the knitting, it may have a little curve because it'll be a bit tighter, and also it makes your second row a bit tricky to knit into, because if you imagine you're trying to get the needle in, and if it's too tight, it's going to be very tricky to do that second row. So I know it's easier said than done, but try and keep it just a bit loose. Okay, so we pick up the right needle, and let the wool fall behind the needle here. I won't go into how to hold needles too much in this one, but the way I would hold them is, so in the left hand, just sort of keep it resting on your fingers here and your thumb here so that you can guide it, like so. Really at the moment it's just a case of finding a way that is good for you, that's comfortable for you, that means that you can actually do this cast on. And then when we get into the actual knitting, I'll show you a few techniques for holding the needle and the wool. Okay, so with the working yarn, we just let this tail flop down here. With the working yarn, what we want to do, this is how I usually knit. I will put this part of the working yarn over the top of my little finger, like this. So I'll be wrapping it around. This sort of shows you, really, this bit of the wool is how you would determine the tension of your knitting, but we won't worry too much about that at the moment. So just don't wrap it really tight around your hand. Just loosely put this over, and I do this so that we've got the wool coming up here, like so. Okay, if I just show you that again, I just get this little finger, I put it in here, like so, and I let it wrap around so that I'm holding it like this, and just keep it quite loose as well. Okay, so I'm holding the rest of the yarn in my hand, And a lot of people guide with this first finger. I just find it a little bit more comfortable to guide with this finger. I think it's just habit, things that you get into. Okay, so with the right needle, what we're doing is we're going to start off by putting the right needle through the front, but the bottom of the front of the stitch. Okay, so if you can see this here, we're putting it through the bottom and out of the back, like so. So what we've got is, it looks like this, if you can see that. So I'll just show you this again. So it's not going, if I show you this way, that's probably easier. So with the right needle, you go underneath this front stitch and you go into that loop and you let the needle go into the back. Okay, like that. I'll just show you that from a different angle so that you can, I think you can see it like that if I do that. Okay, so what you're doing is you're bringing this needle into this loop here and up into the middle and letting it go through the back. Okay, so it looks like that. All right, so once we've done that, we will then hold the two needles together with our right hand, letting the working yarn free. Then we will wrap it round the back of the needle, the back of the back needle, and down the middle of the two needles. Okay, so if I show you that again, the wool is at the back, okay, sitting at the back here, and we are bringing it round this back needle and down between the two. Okay, so we should be able to see it just poking through there. If you follow the wool, you can actually see it. That's it, just sitting there in the middle. Okay, now what we want to do is we want to catch that bit of the wool. So we will hold it a bit tight and we will bring this needle so that we catch this bit of the yarn, which is the bit that we've just wrapped around. Okay, so we'll catch it here. Now this is actually half a knit stitch, but we don't want to actually knit this stitch because we want to cast it on and we want to create stitches. So with this right needle, we pull it out so that we're making quite a big gap here with it. So we've just literally pulled that wool out and we've let it run through our fingers. And then we're going to, I find it easier to put my finger on here, and we're going to twist the yarn like this and put this needle under it and place it onto the left needle and pull out like that. So what we've got there, you can see we've got two stitches on the needle there. Now it's really important not to forget the twist bit, because if you forget the twist bit, you just have a loop on here and you don't have the actual stitch. Okay, so if I show you that again, so the right needle goes under and through the loop of the stitch, like so, if you can see there. Okay, it's going through the loop of the stitch and out the top. Okay, so you can see this is the stitch. If I show you it from this angle, that might be better. So it goes here and it comes out the top here. Okay, what we're not doing is, if you have a look here, there is actually another loop that we've just created. This is actually another form of cast on, but we're not doing that kind at the moment. You could just put it straight through the middle of those two, like that. But we're not actually doing that cast on. So instead, we are going through this loop here, okay, through the loop of the stitch. So that's through the loop. This is still sitting at the back. We bring it round the back of the needle and in between the two. And then what we're doing is we're looking for that little bit that we've just wrapped around to catch it with this needle, like so. And then once we reach here, we're pulling it out so that we've got quite a bit of the yarn in a loop. And then we twist it and we put this left needle into the middle of that loop. Okay, and then remove the right needle. So I'm just going to show you this again. So we go in the front, up through the middle, wrap it round the back, catch the yarn, pull that loop out, and then bring your left needle round and underneath like this, and that's our twist in there. Okay, so let's just get a little bit more yarn. So we'll show you that again. So right needle goes in to the middle of that stitch, yarn comes around the back and over into the middle, catch it, bring the loop up, okay, and then bring your left needle, comes round the back like this, twist forward into that part of the loop, bring that out. Okay, so we've got a good 5 stitches here, you can start to see. Now if I just do this a little bit more quickly so you can see, okay, and then there we go, and around the back, pull the loop, twist, yeah, back, pull the loop, in like this. Okay, let's have a look at what we've got so far. So here we have the start of our cast on, so you can see that it's starting to look a little bit like that. Okay, just remember to try not to make it too tight. So we should have a little bit of spring in it there as well. You can see there. Okay, so I'll just do a few more of these so you can see. Okay, we wrap the yarn. Let's just get a little bit more yarn. Wrap the yarn. Pick up the needle into the front of the loop, up through the middle, wrap it round, bring the loop out. This one, left needle round the back and underneath, and this one at the same time is twisting, the right is twisting, pull it out. There we go. Around the back. This. Up. Yeah. There. Okay, so there we go. So if your pattern says cast on 20 stitches, you'll end up doing this 20 times and you'll have 20 of these stitches along here, and you'll notice it looks very much like that. So you've got a nice straight edge of a cast on here, with just that little bit of spring there. Okay, great. Thanks for watching, and I will be doing another few videos on the different methods of casting on and how to hold needles and so on. Okay, thanks.